We've been saving for an RV, but can we really afford RV travel costs?
I've been worried about that too. I have a friend who bought an RV. It was a pretty big one, and they went on a couple trips with their family, and they decided they couldn't afford the gas and had to sell it.
We've been doing a lot of research. What have you found about travel?
I actually got to talk to Toni and Mike from our RV Sunsets, and they are full-time RV travelers. They gave us some advice on what it costs to RV travel. So let's listen in. It's kind of scary to get in the RV life. Can I really afford this?
Yes.
So what do you think about this question? How much does it cost you when you're traveling, like per month, to stay in RV parks?
I try to keep my costs on average to $50 a day.
Okay.
So, and that goes within that whole, well, this night's only going to cost me $20, or this state park's gonna cost me, $30. That gives me extra money for the KOAs because KOAs are kind of expensive. I mean, if you stay for a week, it's usually significantly discount. Instead of staying 3 or 4 days, if you stay those 7 days, you sometimes get anywhere from 20 to 30% off. And with that traveling, it's a little cheaper. I try to keep the traveling portions a little cheaper by doing things like Harvest Host and
Okay.
then talking. And then I also try to keep costs down by doing, maybe I'll do a KOA here depending on where we're going, but then I'll do a boondocking and then I'll do a state park and then I'll do a Harvest
Yeah.
Host.
Yeah.
So the cost really does fluctuate. I'm doing a lot more state parks
Yeah.
this year, which are like so cheap. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
dude, state and county parks was the one lesson we learned this year. It not only are they less expensive, but they tend to have
Bigger spot.
bigger spots. There were some of them that were just beautiful. I mean, full concrete pads on great big spots, full hookups for
Full
like
hookups,
35
laundry
bucks a night.
facilities. The state and county parks are an amazing resource. Yeah, you have to log in and make accounts for all these different systems
Yeah.
for each state, sometimes each county. And they do limit you to staying to only 14 days. That's usually the longest you could stay in a month.
Okay.
But the facilities are just mind blowing. So I'm a super planner too. I was a program manager for years and years and years. Keep a spreadsheet.
Okay.
That's kind of the most important thing that I can tell you is keep a spreadsheet. RV Life allows you while you're managing your trip, and to me, that's the best app to use when you're planning this stuff because it does all the clearances. You can hone in on the size of your rig and find campsites and spots based on that. But you can also, if you use the planning thing, you can go in and put the costs. And you can watch the total down at the bottom so you can see how kind of, in your mind, you can do the whole math of, okay, we've been on the road for 2 months and I've spent, I'm spending too much on this or this. That's a great tool.
And the tools that she's referring to is RV Life Trip Wizard.
Trip Wizard, yeah.
I think it's rvlife.com is where you can find it. And it has a handful of different tools in there from planning to GPS routing to campground reviews. Their campground reviews are
really good.
Yeah, really robust, really good. So we use that a lot.
Is that a cost to that service?
Yeah, there is a subscription cost on it. I don't remember what it is per month. There's a free version and then there's a paid version, like everything out there. And I don't remember exactly what the subscription is, but it's one of them that I would highly recommend.
I don't think I could do this as easily as I do without that tool, to be honest. And we're not sponsored, by the way.
No, not at all.
Maybe you should be. How about gas costs? Like what do you think? Gas costs per month and your travel?
So I went in and looked at our because we always buy our fuel on one credit card because we get points on it. So I went through and I looked at our last year. So during the travel part of the year for us, which was 6 months, we paid on average $1,108 a month for fuel.
Okay.
But again, we travel
We
more than
travel
most
a lot.
people.
Yeah, we're moving, at least once a week. Now we have a diesel pickup, so diesel's going to run a little bit more than gas will. There's a couple of things out there that can help you save on gas and also save on diesel fuel. On the gas side, there's an application and a website out there called Gas Buddy, and that if you look in there, it'll show you where the less well, it'll show you prices of gas anywhere you're at, so you
Mhm.
can find the lowest price.
Flying J.
Flying J's,
You can join their app and everything and get discounts there. A lot of people use that. Same with Loves, I think. Quite frankly, if I was to choose where to get your gas on the road, and if you do it like us, Loves is one of the better ones because for two reasons. You can get the discounts, you get points on their app, and they have the cleanest bathrooms.
yeah. Well,
How about any cost that you didn't anticipate?
I can't think of one that we didn't anticipate.
No, we did a lot of research.
Okay.
And I heard people talk about, oh, I've spent too much of my budget eating out
Okay.
at places. We tend not to eat out. We do occasionally if we're in a fun place and we find a restaurant that we like. But we
We save our
actually
money for breweries.
we do. When
Okay.
you travel, you'll start getting all these grocery store apps on your phone. If you like to save money, I mean, I highly recommend those. That's something nobody ever talks about is take the 5 minutes when you walk into that store, download those app, get those electronic coupons. You'd be surprised how much money you save.
Okay. That's a
Just
good.
walking. Yeah.
I don't know if there's an answer to this, but I was curious about time of year. Like, is there a time of year that kind of there's a change in cost for park places to stay, a change in cost, maybe not for gas. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
For gas, there's definitely a different cost here in California. And I don't know if a lot of other states do this, but California uses different types of blends because in their gas because of EPA regulations. And so during the summer, gas actually goes up here in California
Mhm.
because they use a completely different blend. It's hard to say because we tend to travel mostly in the summer. So I would suspect that rates go down on the shoulder season in, winter time when people are traveling less.
But so does
But but we're stationary
depending
that
on what
time.
part of the country you're in, so does availability. Like during the
Yes.
summer, I would not during the winter, I wouldn't go to Florida because you can't find spots out there because all these snowbirds are going down to Florida. The
Man.
only other thing is in the northern part of the country, a lot of the parks close.
Yeah.
So that's why, most people that do full time, they follow that kind of 70 degrees
Chasing
that
that
they're
70
chasing because the
degrees.
parks are going to be open and
I think you hit it on the head. It's going to be dictated by supply and demand, right? I mean, and there's going to be a higher demand for spots in Florida, higher demand for spots along the Gulf Coast during the winter, so the rates are probably going to go up.
yeah, and it depends on the destination too. I mean, a KOA in say Sioux Falls is going to be a lot less than a KOA near Yellowstone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're near a big tourist place or a big national park, those private parks around there are going to be more expensive.
But again, that's when you go, I'll stay a week instead of staying 4 or 5 days. I'll stay a week because
You can
you
get a
usually
weekly.
get a weekly discount.
Yeah.
Did you guys do any budgeting planning before you got into this life, or did you just kind of say we'll figure it out as we go?
We kind of said we'd figure it out as we go.
I would like to add before we decided to do this, I do have a financial analyst that I have dealt with. I have my 401k and I've always been very budget minded too.
Hmm.
Um, before we even did this, I went to him. We talked to him and said, I know this isn't optimum because we're selling our house, we're selling, and we're buying a depreciating asset and blah, 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 blah. But he understood our circumstances. We couldn't be in the house and we didn't want to be in the house anymore. And he works with us even now. He knows the lifestyle that we want to live. So he's helping us live this lifestyle and continuing to plan to live this lifestyle. I highly recommend if you have like a retirement, if you have, money in the bank, actually sit down and talk to a financial analyst, and it's surprising how much they can help you.
What advice would you give to me and John? We're starting our RV journey, and you've been doing it for a little while. What's the piece of advice for us?
I say this to anybody and everybody that's looking to get into the full-time RV lifestyle. You have to be flexible. Things are going to change, plans are going to change, stuff is going to break, and you just have to be able to roll with the punches. And one of the advantages of that, one of the positives from it is, we've wound up in places that were really cool that we really hadn't planned to be in, but something happened and changed our trajectory and we had to delay a day. And this year coming up California, we were in Pinnacle National Park, and they turned out they were paving the roads, and so we had to leave a day early. So we found a little Harvest Host winery up around the Bay Area of California that was absolutely beautiful, and it was a lovely stay, and they even had ostriches there. And so those kind of things can happen if you're just flexible and open to it happening. If plans change, don't get all frustrated. It might lead you into a cool place, a great experience. You don't know.
Mine kind of goes with that a little bit. I wasn't a flexible person. As a program manager, I did budgets, I did schedules. I like things all tidy and neat. And this has taught me to be so much more flexible because we've had to pivot so many times. But because we've been doing this, and this is something that just really hit me this year. I can go on the jobs now that we're doing, and I just know whatever happens, I'm going to be able to take care of it.
You get comfortable with chaos.
You do. You get a little comfortable with chaos. The thing that I think really surprised me is how much I enjoy the simplicity of this lifestyle. Housework takes me 10 minutes in the morning, and it's done before I even take a shower. It takes your whole life, and it just kind of simplifies it. And once it goes into that simplification, you just really appreciate everything else. You're not focused on the minutia anymore. You're just seeing the big picture. And
well, that sounds like the life for me for sure, and hopefully the life for my husband too.
yeah,
So yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
we love watching your show,
thank
our
you.
RV Sunset, and thank you so much. Enjoy your
Yeah.
California sun.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm really looking forward to kind of watching, your guys' experience as you go through figuring out what rig, purchasing what
And
rig.
you're going to motivate other people too.
Yeah, and make sure that that's a stressful time when you're trying to do all that stuff, but step back from the stress every once in a while and just have fun with it, Just sit around and talk about how cool this rig was or how cool that rig was. Make sure you have fun with it.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Good advice. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Of course,
you.
take care.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye. Okay.
I was going to interview Julie. First thing that popped in my mind was that Toni and Mike are real friendly and a lot of advice, a lot of
Yeah.
experience.
They are very nice. That was really kind of them to do that.
And I think with our experiences so far in biking and kayaking, hiking and camping, that people we've run into are real friendly, and that makes our trips a lot more enjoyable. And there's another example of Mike and Toni being so kind to do that for us.
So this episode is about saving for RV travel.
Okay.
So focusing on just that, what in their advice stuck with you on RV travel costs?
Well, the first thing is the budget. You're the budgeter. I'm not a very good budget, even though that's my background.
We're a team,
Yeah.
so.
But that's one thing I really haven't put my mind to, is how much it is going to cost us per month to do this endeavor.
Right.
I'm just thinking, if we can afford the RV and a new truck, hey, we're off and going, not worrying about what the other costs are going to be. And they kind of made that point. So I'm going to have to change my direction here.
Yeah, so it's going to be if we had the same cost as them, it'd be $1,100 a month for gas cost, and it's going to be $1,500 for RV park cost. So that's a lot of money, but if we budget for it, I think we're okay. Okay.
The other thing I got out of it was the different sites we should be aware of, maybe going to state parks. with if for the cost. Maybe county parks. She said I wasn't aware county parks, but that's something to look into. And to vary up, not always going to the KOA sites, use other sites that might be less expensive, and stay, I don't know if we're planning on staying a week at a time or a month at a time, but she said instead of staying 3 or 4 days, stay for the 7 days, which will be, less for us.
Right. And so they definitely had some great ideas on how to save funds. And I think that this is something that we can go back to. But we're not done with cost actually. The next thing that we got to figure out is maintenance cost. So we hope that you're subscribed and hit that notification button, because soon we're going to have an episode on RV maintenance cost. Until next time, let our next trail
Help you find
your next trail.